What are the odds of a DreamWorks platform fighter? Maybe we'll see Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 in the future. I honestly think it's coming out next year. But what if we had a DreamWorks platform fighter coming out this year, which I think could possibly happen and be more than likely, and then Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3. So this is a live premiere. It's been a while. It's been a couple months. And the most recent request that we did was Read Aloud from the Loud House, Maddie Fenton, and many other characters that you guys have requested. So today's request is all about Skipper Penguin, a DreamWorks character that could possibly have a really good chance of getting into a Nickelodeon platform fighting game or a Nickelodeon crossover. Because from what I've heard from some of you guys talking about this character and other DreamWorks possibilities to appear as guest characters, characters like Skipper and, well, the Penguins of Madagascar per se, they had a show on Nickelodeon. I haven't seen the show, so I haven't seen all the Madagascar movies, but I only seen the first movie. And I did some research and did my uh, research of trying to come up with good ideas to make this request make sense. And one thing that's different for this is not just talking about new characters. I also list my ideas, and the timestamps are also going to be included for these type of videos, so you can watch whatever portion that you're looking forward to and you're most interested in. And if you don't want to end up watching the full video, the timestamps are there, and also what I came up with and what I'm going to be talking about and how I came up with all my ideas for this character is going to be listed in the description, just like all the other characters in the playlist. So you guys can check out the playlist here on the channel if you want to check out more of my moveset ideas, or maybe it's a certain character that you have not seen me talk about yet. You can also go ahead and list your requests in a live chat in the premiere if you want to. Any character that's Nickelodeon related, of course. It can also be a Nick Jr. character, because I also done movesets for Dora, Blue from Blue's Clues, Wubsy from Wild Wild Wubsy, for example, and Ruby Gloom, a completely different show for all types of different characters. DBZ characters like Goku and Gohan that I have movesets for from way back then, and even some of those other modern shows that are newer Nickelodeon shows that aired, like Big Nate and Draculaura from Monster High and so much more. There's so many other characters that I've created movesets for you guys to request, so I wanted to keep this going. So this is the first request of the year, and now that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 has, I don't want to say it like this, has come and gone, because we're probably not going to get any more updates for this game, sadly. And they had a great game and this untapped potential where we didn't have to end the game with characters like Iroh being the last character that we're just gonna close the doors with, when it could have been so much more characters that could have gotten into this game. So we got Rocksteady, Iroh, and then backing it up a little bit further, Zuko, and then we got Mr. Krabs, who was first to kick off the DLC. But what comes to mind when it comes to like Skipper, characters like Skipper Penguin, the leader of the Penguins, we're going to be talking about throughout today for today's video for this premiere? What do you guys think? Maybe he has a better chance of getting into a DreamWorks platform fighting game. Maybe we'll end up getting that this year. Maybe that's what's going to be in the works. It could be a DreamWorks crossover that could be the next thing that they'll end up going for these developers. Maybe another team might pick it up. We don't know what's going to possibly happen. It's only January. The new year just started. Anything could end up getting released, and the possibilities are there. And seeing some of these classes make their return that got recently announced from a few days ago, we got to see some of those classes make their return during the Xbox Developer Direct that people didn't really expect to see. So the possibilities and all the potential is there for these characters to really be able to shine, and maybe some of these new titles can come out this year, maybe, if we'll get one. But for today, we're going to be talking about all things Madagascar and getting to know Skipper Penguin. And for me, just again, I have not seen all the Madagascar movies, so I ended up going back to watch some clips and even checking out some of the a little bit of the show that I missed out on that aired on Nickelodeon, to really find out what goes on and really try to come up with the best moves to make his moves make sense instead of just trying to rush a video out. I want to really be able to make every character playable and sound fun to play as, and also a little bit balanced, so that way it's fair. And it seems like there is so many other characters that can get in, that could have gotten into this game, and so much more that could have gotten, as far as stages that could have got in and added into this game. It didn't have to stop here, because it deserves so much more. It deserves so much more love and support, and it's just, there's not much more to really get excited about, because we don't have any future updates, and we're not going to probably get anything else. There's on to the next game, and now it's going to probably be the same thing, where they'll come out with a couple characters and then they'll just stop. And I don't want it to be that way. They can stick to a game, keep on coming out with continuous updates. It gives the support, the proper, and I'm putting emphasis on this, we need the proper communication where we can really be able to find out what's going on, so we can really be able to stay in the light of what's going on with some of these characters and some of the updates if they get delayed. That's something that I want to see in the next game. Skipper Penguin could possibly join Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 if we get one as a guest character, or maybe a DreamWorks platform fighting game that could come out this year if we get one later on. So let's start getting to know Skipper Penguin. If you haven't heard of this character, he's a DreamWorks character from the Madagascar series, and he's from Penguins of Madagascar, the movie. So Skipper is the leader of a group of penguins in the Madagascar franchise. He's the brother of Rico and Kowalski, and an adopted older brother of Private. So this group of 4 penguins, they take on missions together, they hang out together, they do everything together, and they look out for each other. So it's just even sharing that for a little bit of his backstory. This group of penguins can probably potentially fight together. Skipper probably can get into the game solo, but I wanted to develop some of his moves to include his brothers for his team, for this group of penguins, to really give them some kind of a spotlight where they'll appear a few times. And I also did something with the winning animations as well, the animations, and even something with his ultimate technique, with his ultimate attack. So I wanted to really be able to put together for this character. So a little bit more about Skipper's backstory, just getting to know him really quickly before we start getting into the stages and everything else. Skipper usually leads the penguins to success on almost every mission with a plan. He's the type of character who wouldn't leave anyone behind, and he goes for crazy plans. He's committed to his plans, and he's the leader of this group and trying to lead the penguins to, even when you go and watch the movie and things like that, he's trying to lead them to freedom in Antarctica. I can't even talk, messing up. But he's trying to lead them to freedom in Antarctica and really try to look out for them and really take good care of these guys to make sure everyone is on the same page. So that's basically his backstory in a nutshell for Skipper the Penguin, of getting to know him. And you'll really be able to see how he acts as a leader when you go and watch Penguins of Madagascar, and even check them out in the Madagascar series. You can really be able to see how he's just commanding and just taking charge of this group. So I really think he can really be able to shine on the battlefield. And we're going to head into the stages in just a little bit. I wanted to come up with something. I was going to think of a particular stage that could be something similar to the aquarium, because they had the penguin habitat and things like that. But I wanted to do something a little bit more and expand, because now we have DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing, which also had a stage that could pay homage to this game. And if he gets into one of these games, if he gets into a platform fighter or Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3 as DLC, no way he's not going to be a base roster character. But if he gets in as a DLC character, or maybe a potential guest character, these are the stages that I think that are best for him, that could fit him the best if to be included. And the thing is, if you played this game and you got the DLC like me, you would already know that none of these characters and none of the DLC fighters contained a DLC. They did not have a stage. They didn't contain a stage when you make the purchase of any of the characters, and when you buy the season pass, you're not getting any new stages. These are just free stages that were included with the patch updates, and this one's from a campaign, and then it's just another SpongeBob stage. But they're new stages, and it's something that I wanted to also always include with every new character that you guys request, that you guys want to see a moveset for. I want to give them the best stages and not just stick to one little stage. I want to really be able to expand, because there's so many different stages that they have included. We got more than one Loud House stage, for example. This wasn't even in the first game. It wasn't in the original game. This is something new that they added. But the Royalwood Cemetery was something that was already in the first game, but it returned, and it looks so different. It's new and improved. So I wanted to give Skipper different stages that can be added. So this is the closest thing that comes to mind for a stage when it comes to Skipper Penguin. But the stages that I came up with, I went with Central Park Zoo, New York. And then they can basically take this stage from DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. The Arctic Ocean was a playable track in that game. This could feature the cargo ship from the very first movie and reference Arctic Ocean from DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. I think that'll work. This is another good stage that could really work, and you could really be able to see that cargo ship, or even have the players fight on the cargo ship itself as a little bit of a tribute of the Madagascar movie. It's from the first movie. And then their homeland. It's the homeland of the penguins, Antarctica. So those three different stages I wanted to add, and of course I could have went with the penguin habitat itself, but I just think those three stages would look so much better for him to be able to be playable on. Maybe some of these stages could be all included with him, if with all-in-one purchase. It's something a little bit different. You get the character and you get all the new stages all into one with his costumes, which we're about to get ready to get into in just a little bit. So those are the stages. We talked about his backstory. We're going to start getting into the alternate costumes. And the one thing I liked about this game is how these characters have more than one costume. So it's not just one costume, and it's not focused on hats and things like that. See, we got Halloween costumes. See, with Garfield, for example, we got Halloween costumes that they went as far as adding some of the greatest costumes that fans wanted to see, like the N-Man, for example, for Jimmy Neutron. They got some really good costumes in this game that could really just stand out outside of just wearing a hat like this. For Rocco, for example, this wouldn't be enough. We need better costumes, and we got a lot more and better costumes in this game. So Skipper, I wanted to give him some really good alternate costumes. I had some issues trying to come up with some, because I didn't really think, since I didn't know too much about the Madagascar franchise and the series itself, and didn't really watch Penguins of Madagascar. But after watching it and doing the research and watching clips and things like that, I could really be able to find out what costumes that could fit him. And I don't want to just give him just an ordinary hat. I'm going to also mention where I got some of the costumes as well, and I'm also going to have the clips for some of the links. I'm not going to put them all in, but I was able to find several different funny clips where you can really be able to see the change of Skipper and the penguins alike, wearing different costumes and different outfits for their appearances. So the alternate costumes, since let's put it on one of the characters that have the most. Let's put it on him, for example, one of my favorites. So the first costume I wanted to just mention here is the Afro Circus Penguin from the Circus Zaragoza train. It was from Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. It was if you go and watch Madagascar 3, from watching this, they were trying to pretend like they were circus animals, but they never really been to the circus. They didn't really do any sort of circus stage performances or anything like that. But They got the circus animals were from the Circus Zaragoza train was nice enough to let them on to catch a lift. It was their one way back home to take this train. It was no other way that they had back home, so they had to take this little train. So the circus animals were nice enough to let them on to hitch a ride. So this was from Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. So you can really check them out in the Afro Circus Penguin, in their Afro Circus little different hairstyles. The hairstyles are so different. What's the character who could change hairstyles in this game? I would say like Iros, he is when he's him, and then Zuko also. See, he's the perfect example. So see how Zuko has like his ponytail with his original look from season 1 when you first start watching Avatar. See the hairstyle? This could also be something that could be able to work for a skipper. So a nice little circus. It's like a colorful afro that they wore when they're getting ready for the circus themselves, pretending to be circus animals. So that's the costume number 1 from Madagascar 3, Heroes Most Wanted. The next costume I wanted to go with is the dancing disguise outfit. So this was when the penguins of Madagascar were causing a distraction to the squids. So it was during the slap dance. So if you guys want to look up that clip, you can really see them wear this little outfit. So it's like, it almost looked like overalls. So they had like a green hat, brown sort of orange, overalls and things like that. And they were doing the slap dance to distract the squids. So you can check out that clip. I'm going to also have that listed in the description so you guys can be able to check that out. So you guys can really be able to take a look at the dancing disguise outfit. I didn't really know what to call it because they were playing like an accordion and doing a slap dance with each other and things like that. It's pretty funny to see. So y'all can check that out. So I'll have that in the description if you guys want to take a look at the funny clip. And I also did a little bit of something extra with it, with the dance, the slap dance that I'll be getting into. So the next costume is called the Mutant Penguin. So the Mutant Penguin is where Skipper and the rest of the penguins were turned into mutant penguins to attack the city. So you see how, let's just use this for example. For some of these characters, you can really be able to see the difference. See how the skin has changed? Let's use Reptar. This is exactly the example I want to use today. See the color change? It's a color variation, a color swap. It can be a color swap for a skipper, but it's a little bit more to it. So the mutant penguin, they were turned into mutant penguins to attack the city, and they're green, and they all looked very different with their facial expressions and things like that. This will look really cool in a new Nickelodeon game or a DreamWorks game for an alternate costume or skin unlockable skin from playing the game. So he's a green penguin with a lobster claw, and this is from the Penguins of Madagascar movie. So it's when the penguins were turned into mutant penguins just to try to raid and scare the city and all the humans away and things like that, to clean out the city. So that's his third costume, and I wanted to add one more costume. See how green, red stars, green, things like that. This is just the closest thing for a color swap. And then Ember also has one too, because she has green. It was almost like this color, but it was like a little bit of a light green, a dark green color too. So this could be the perfect idea, just for a little reference of how it looked when they turn into mutant penguins. So I think that'll really look good for Skipper. And then another final costume, which is almost similar, like basically another color swap. This is the new monster costume that I came up with. So this was a costume worn by Private. It wasn't worn, and you couldn't see Skipper wear this costume, but this is something that I thought could also fit. But since this skin was only worn by Private after he saved all the penguins from being mutated when they were mutant penguins, it was a magenta color that Private had on his body, and he also had moose antlers. So I think this would be something that could be funny, but also something that could pay homage to representing how one of the members of this team of penguins, this group of four, Private ended up becoming a more meaningful and valued member of the team because he saved Skipper and Kowalski and all the other penguins and Rico and things like that. It goes on and on. Private stood out as one of the best penguins and more meaningful penguins that was brave enough to step up and really be able to save all the penguins and get them back to normal and restore them back to their normal states. So I thought this could be something that Skipper could wear so he can be able to have that skin to represent him. Even though Private's not going to be playable, he can have that little skin spot. So, moose antlers, and then a magenta color, a magenta penguin with moose antlers. That's what it basically looked like for Private when he turned. He was the next new monster, but he looked so different. He stood out to everyone because he was the hero. So I think that'll be something nice that can get added for him for another additional skin. It's just a bonus skin. I'm not sure if it'll probably end up getting added, but I wanted to go a little bit above and beyond and add a new costume for him that's additional. So 4 different costumes for Skipper the Penguin to really be able to get into this game if he does. Something that makes him stand out and different. See, this also could count too, because she's wearing a different color. See, look, see the difference. This is her original, and then this one. So Skipper might have a little bit of the same treatment with one of his costumes, one or more of his costumes, but it'll let him stand out a little bit more. And things like that. Maybe you can give him like a cool little aura like this. But of course the mind control skins will be in, but this game is not going to get anymore. So I wonder what they're going to do. Will the mind control skins return in the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 3? I honestly don't see that happening. This was probably just something that was some kind of unique, something different and unique for all the characters to have their own mind control skins that are designed, and they all look differently with a similar aura. But now it's time for the taunts and animations, and I'm trying to see, let me see, before we get into the taunts and animations, I'm trying to think of a character that I think I want to go with Garfield, because he's a character that eats. He's a character that eats when he's doing one of his taunts. I think he'll throw a little bit of pie or something like that in his mouth. And he also eats when he gets his sugar rush. It's also part of his moveset. So as he picks up more, his sugar rush meter increases and he gets faster. So I wanted to use Garfield, for example, and have him on the screen because he was a character that eats during his taunt. And that's what I wanted to do, something that makes the most sense, and just watching the movie and the clips and things like that, just to really put the best taunts and animations that make the most sense for him, for Skipper. So my personal favorite, just working on this and putting this together, the cheesy dipples. Anyone remember the cheesy dipples that Skipper was eating? So I wanted to turn the cheesy dipples, and I also did something a little bit extra with this also, outside of it being a taunt. It can be a taunt and also a particular special move that I came up with for later on that you guys will be able to find out about in the moveset. So the cheesy dipples, Skipper can eat cheesy dipples as a funny taunt that I think fans would really love to see. So if you've seen this clip, if you guys haven't seen it, it's funny. It's really funny. And he's just eating, and he's just chewing loudly and things like that. I think this will be a funny taunt that you can do to really annoy the opponents. And when you're getting ready to win, flex a little bit on the battlefield, you could just be eating cheesy dipples, things like that. And that's the name of these chips, or basically, or the snacks that he's eating. But they're like cheese puffs, if you had those before. Anybody ever had cheese puffs? So the cheesy dibbles are the cheese puffs of Penguins of Madagascar, the Penguins of Madagascar movie. It's one of the funniest scenes, and I never even got to see it until I was watching the movie and checking it out. So this is from the Penguins of Madagascar movie. So I'll also post the clip example so y'all can really be able to check it out. And it's a taunt that I really want him to have. Eating the cheesy nipples and things like that, the little cheese puffs per se. So that's just one of the taunts. And then the next one I came up with, smile and wave. He'll say, just smile and wave, boys. So Skipper and a group of penguins can wave at the competition. So I think that'll be something. But since he's going to be fighting solo for now, he can just do that. And then I gave him an honorary salute where Skipper can salute during combat. So since he's the leader of the group, things like that, it'll be perfect for him. I think those are 3 good taunts that really fit his character and what he does in the movie and the series from the Madagascar series. Now as I start talking about the winning and losing animations. So remember how I mentioned the penguin slap dance earlier during when I was talking about the alternate costumes? I think this will be something that could work. Well, outside of just the alternate costumes. The penguin slap dance will be something that will be a perfect winning animation and a cool surprise for players to see other penguins appear. So this dance was performed by Rico, Skipper, and Kowalski during the Penguins of Madagascar movie that I mentioned during earlier when I was talking about the costumes, because it's gonna match their costumes. It could be an alternate costume, but they could still do the slap dance, the penguin slap dance, and as a winning animation. And it could be fitting because you'll also have the costume and as the alternate skins. You know what I mean? So it'll be a cool little perfect fit. Because they did this dance to attract attention from the squids and things like that to distract them for the little secret plan in the movie. So the penguin slap dance deserves to be the winning animation, and it's really cool to really see all this. This will be something that I think the developers can definitely add if they get into a game or into a DreamWorks platform fighter. You know, it's just something for a little bit of some style. I don't know if any of these other characters really dance. It was SpongeBob. SpongeBob does like a little dance when you win with him. It's pretty sweet. So it's gonna be another winning animation. It's one of his winning animations that's in the game. So the penguin slap dance as this winning animation, with the other group joining in on the fun. And then the losing animation we're gonna get into. I had a little bit of trouble trying to come up with a losing animation with him. I don't want to just give him like a bad attitude and have him crying, things like that, because most of the characters, they just cry. You know, Ember cries, Jenny cries, and things like that. I don't want to just do it like that. I wanted to just give him something that'll make the most sense. So I came up with, for his losing animation for Skipper can be smashing on an easel in frustration. So this is from the little art canvas. That's the art canvas, if you don't know what an easel is. So I got this from the misunderstanding episode. And then there's a nice little quote of what he can say. Instead of usually how he says, we take this shame to our graves. That's a quote that they said before they did that penguin slap dance with the accordion and things like that. He can just say, I take this shame to my grave. He can say that, and they can really change the dialogue up. So I have the video example so you guys can really be able to see it. It was just a clip that someone posted of him just in an endless loop of him smashing the easel. That could be something that can really be a losing animation for Skipper the Penguin. So I wanted to really show that so people could be able to see. Someone posted a clip of him endlessly smashing an easel and destroying this art canvas. So I think this will make the most sense for a fitting losing animation for Skipper. So those are the types of animations. We talked about the alternate costumes, and we also went into the backstory and the stages. So my favorite part of doing these requests here on the channel is the moveset, where the characters, I like to create the movesets where they make sense, and it'll give them a different play style, give them a different strategy, and different moves that can go with each other and combo with each other and be able to match up, that you can use one after another to really be able to help make the character fighter potential, great fighter potential, and not just be someone else. It's just another new character joining the roster potentially, but I want to make these movesets different, so it pays homage to the movie and it fits how they're going to play. I love how they made all the characters in these movesets. Every moveset from all these characters and all the fighters in this game are very well made. So let's get into Skipper's moveset, and since he's coming into the game as solo, I still wanted to also implement Hit the Gang alongside of him as backup to help him out in the fight, and I also gave him a little bit of a special technique that can also really help him deal more damage and things like that I'm gonna get into. So his first move, I like also naming the moves and changing up the names just to try my best to give them different names, silly goofy names that I think they would probably go for, things like that, for that could be listed in the moveset. So the first move, Slip and Slide, where Skipper could be able to slide on his belly on the battlefield to escape his opponents and also avoid large crowds while being able to charge into his enemies. So he'll be able to charge right into you, slide right into you. It's going to be something that's really fast. It could be a running attack or something like that, because it'll make the most sense being a running attack where you can charge into you, slide right into you. All the penguins, of course I had to give him a sliding move. He's a penguin, so I think this would make the most sense for him to have in his moveset. He'll be able to slide around the map, and when you're doing like 4-player free-for-all, he can get away, and it can really be able to separate him from the crowd, so he can stand out and get away, and then he can charge in when it's a good time and just slide right into you. So he can even bounce off enemies, so if he's in between like two different opponents, one on the left, one on the right, he can just bounce between both of them and just like a ping pong, like a pinball and things like that, and he can just be able to deal even more damage from all the different characters trying to surround him on the battlefield. So that's his first move. Now, seeing Skipper slapping people around in the movie and things like that, and even his own brothers, I gave him his next move, Slap Frenzy, will be his basic little normal combo attack, things like that. Skipper can attack by slapping his enemies to show them who's in charge, because he's the leader. So he's going to be able to slap everybody around, and on the battlefield, this will be something that can be able to be useful, and I definitely realistically see him having this kind of move. Now, this particular move or this technique, I wanted to add, and I don't know if anyone thought of this. I wanted to add the hula girl that he liked from the movie that he was in love with. So he wanted to save the hula girl, and for this move I call it Operation Hula Girl. He wanted to rescue the hula girl and things like that. I think she'll be really funny to see, and I don't want to just use her as a decoy or anything like that. I wanted to do something different. See how I want to bring Zim up here as an example, because Zim can summon Gur. Of course he won't be able to control, well, Skipper won't be able to control Hula Girl. She'll be someone that he can just have out. And also with Pookie, Garfield's favorite toy, see how he throws him out and places him on the battlefield? He could still be able to use that toy, but it's going to work differently from Zim being able to control and command Gur and things like that. Skipper's going to be able to showcase and share, well, Skipper's spirit of love for Hula Girl from Penguins of Madagascar can shine on the battlefield, so Hula Girl can be in the game. And if you don't know who Hula Girl is someone that Skipper really fell for, and he was really trying to express his love for, and things like that. It was really funny, and a lot of the fans out there like her, so I think it'll be something unique and something special that can be included in his moveset. So Hula Girl is going to play a significant role of the damage he deals and with his attack power. So Hula Girl is going to be able to be allowed to be played on the field, and he can bring her out. he can bring Hula Girl with him to the battlefield. So while Hula Girl is active on the field, she's just going to be, bobbling around and things like that. She's not going to be able to move. So you'll definitely want to have to play her or place her on a farther part of the map and strategically plan when and decide when you want to bring out Hula Girl and have her just chilling on the map so she can really be able to, because in his imagination, she hasn't been able to talk to him. If you go and watch the clip for Operation when he was trying to save Hula Girl and things like that, if you watch the clip, for some of you guys that want to check it out, he was trying to get her to talk to him. So she's going to be watching his, just for his imagination, it fits him. Hula Girl's going to be watching his every move, and with Hula Girl in play, you definitely want to get rid of her as quick as possible because Skipper's going to get stronger the longer she's out on the field. So Skipper's going to deal more damage with all of his attacks. So you want to make sure you eliminate Hula Girl as quick as possible. She's not going to be able to be moved. The player won't be able to control Hula Girl. Just like, see how I got Zem on the screen? You can control Gur and tell him what to do and command him, and certain button inputs certain button inputs that you press when you're on the battlefield with Zem will do certain things, and it will trigger Gur to be able to do certain things, and you can also be able to pick him up and throw him and things like that. So Hula Girl is just going to be stationary on the map, so you want to play her on a big map or somewhere in a corner and just have her chilling in a safe spot, because the longer she's going to be on the field, Skipper's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So I think that'll be something that will be something unique, because I haven't seen nobody talk about Hula Girl, as how she could be something that could be involved in Skipper's moveset. So I wanted to do something like that. So I think this was one of my personal favorite moves that I came up with, and I'm glad I found this out and just watched the movie just to see. Even the clip, when you go and see it, you can see how he acts towards her. He really wants to be there for her and things like that. She's just a doll, you know what I mean? She's not really she cannot talk or move like all the animals and things like that. So Hula Girl is definitely, I think, will be a key move that I wanted to really bring out, add into his moveset as something unique for this that I really, really like. So I wanted to add her in it. So the longer she's on the field, she's just gonna deal more damage. So you see how Squirrel has his temper tantrum when he gets angry and he gets stronger, and his movement speed, his base movement speed is also increased. So he moves faster and he deals more damage. So I gave him something different with Hula Girl. Now, a little bit of some range. I don't know what to give him for projectiles. Maybe someone else out there might have an idea. Some of you got in the live chat of what to give him for a projectile attack. But I wanted to add in the flare gun, the signal flare gun that he used. I wanted to utilize the flare gun he used to rescue the animals and try to make it something to stun opponents from range. And with the flare gun, it's not just going to be some kind of flare gun he's just going to fire and stun you with. He's only going to be able to fire a few shots. So he can have flare gun ammo displayed on the mini map. He can have his ammo, so if you're playing as Skipper, the player can really keep an eye out on how much ammo you have in your flare gun. A little bit of Alan Wake vibes, because you can fire you can shoot the flare gun. If you play Alan Wake, you can shoot the flare gun on the Taken in the Alan Wake games, so you'll be able to watch your ammo count when it comes to Skipper, because it's something that he used to hold up the was it the Fossa or something like that. He really was there to help all the other animals in Madagascar with the flare gun. So he used this and fired it into the air as a warning shot to keep the Fossa back, or the Fossa. So for the flare gun, I only gave him 3 shots. So you're only going to have 3 shots. Each shot fired will have a cooldown period. Or some kind of reload. A point where you'll have to reload. So you won't just be able to spam the flare gun. You'll just be able to fire the flare gun every now and then, because you'll have to reload and just get away from your opponent. So you can just use the slip and slide move technique. slip and slide technique that I added with his moveset to try to, slide away and get away from your opponent to try to reload your flare gun. So I wanted to add that, and when you successfully hit a player with the flare gun, you can be able to, they'll be vulnerable, and then you can just start going crazy. You can have Hula Girl out there. See how I wanted to combo this? You can have Hula Girl already out there for a little while, and you're getting stronger the longer she's out there just chilling, watching him fight and battle, or fight for her. So, and just for example, Hula Girl's gonna be in play, watching him fight, and then you'll be able to slip and slide away with your flare gun, and you stun your opponent when you shoot him, the flare gun, things like that. And then you're going to be able to deal more damage, and you can just slide right into him, or you can just be able to knock him away with a good old slap to the face. So I think that'll also be something that can work. So I wanted to combo those different moves, and with his slap frenzy technique and things like that, it can really work out. So I wanted to give him something like a projectile. I just didn't know what else to give him. You see how Jimmy Neutron got all the gadgets in the world. Plankton got that sauce, and he also has those different another move with Karen involved in this moveset. I forgot the name of the move, but some of these characters have projectile attacks, things like that. I wanted to give him something with range, so Skipper doesn't always have to be so close up. He can just really be able to try to get you with that flare gun. So he'll be able to just only fire it across the screen. Maybe they could play around with it where you could be able to angle it. Remember, like Hugh Neutron's pies from Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, the first game, you were able to not only just throw it across, but you can angle it straight up. He should be able to fire it in different directions too. So I wanted to do that as different. It's a little bit of a bonus to his flare gun. So you're not just shooting across the screen. Somebody in the air, you can try to shoot it in the air and try to, and just keep them back. Even if you miss, you can still really just play mind games with them. So they'll just also be watching out and keeping an eye on your ammo to make sure you don't have another shot and your flare gun to stun them. So I think that'll be something that'll really be fun for players to get into if they add it. Even if he doesn't have a flare gun as moveset, that's fine too. But these are just something that I wanted to utilize because I've seen him use it, and it'll be something that he can really pick people off and really just be able to open a window or just open doors for him to really just inflict the most damage on all the opponents as possible. So the recovery move, I wanted to give him a little quote: "Follow me, boys, we're coming in hot." So he can have that. So I wanted to add, he could say that as a little bit of a quote. So a little bit of Sonic Hero vibes, things like that, because they're going to be, the penguins can really be able to be involved in the recovery, the other penguins for the game. The penguins can catch a quick flight from a plane and attempt to find a safe landing back onto the battlefield. So they can fly. Penguins can fly, so that's why I ended up coming up with this recovery. This is the best move I could really come up with, the best idea. I don't want to have them just just try to use maybe like a penguin ladder or a penguin tower to get back onto the stage. I wanted to make it, something that they actually do, because they really were in the plane. They jumped out of the plane and just try and find different ways to land safely. And I didn't want to make anything. It's not going to have manual control. It could be something that, maybe it could have a little bit of manual control, because with the hover car with Jimmy Neutron, and you got Jenny's recovery move, it's a lot of different things that they can possibly end up doing, because having the 4 penguins together, they'll definitely always find a way to get in. And it almost made me think of Aang's recovery of what I wanted to do with the 4 penguins, with the penguins being able to fly together and land. So this is just something that I wanted to put together that I think would make the most sense, because they jumped out of the plane, they ended up finding a way to land safely together. They can come in hot, and then maybe they can crash land on the opponent. They can probably really play around with the recovery, so you can also be able to inflict damage with they can inflict damage with how they land, and you can have manual control. And I was trying to think of who else can inflict damage when they use the recovery, like Nigel Thornberry, for example. I don't even know what his recovery is called. I forgot what it was. Was it like a whale? It was like that. He can hit you on the way down. And he also could do it. He was also able to knock you down and damage you with his recovery. While in the first game, he was able to just drag you down. And then Plankton can also hit you too with his Shiakazine. So it's cool to see some of these characters with their recovery that can really hit you. Patrick is also one of them as well, who can hit you with his recovery. SpongeBob with his spatula, things like that. Ember with her recovery, things like that. Some characters can really hit you with the recovery, and then Gerald with his aerial slam dunk. Quite a few characters can hit you with the recovery. Rockwell is another one of them. It's so many other characters that can get in, and even Bret Hart and things like that. It just goes on and on with so many different variety of characters that can really be able to hit you with the recovery if you're not careful. So that I thought they could possibly be able to do some damage when they land and just crash into you and things like that. So just something that's not going to last too long, where he'll be able to take flight with the others. And now the final move. I love giving these characters ever since this game came out for the series that I've been doing since the first game. We got supers now. All the characters in this game have supers. The history eraser button is pretty cool. I love all the ultimates. Every ultimate in this game is really good. I just kind of wish Iroh's was a little bit different because it's kind of too similar to Zuko's. It could have been something better. But every character has their own ultimate, things like that. Even Grandma Gertie as well. So Skipper's ultimate attack, I call this the secret weapon. So he can say, deploy secret weapon. And we're the elite team of penguins of Madagascar. So Skipper can summon his partners Kowalski, Rico, and Private to form a tower with Rico on top, and they can burp out cheesy dibble dust into the opponents, all the opponents on the field, and they'll be cheesed. Because this was something that gave me an idea, because this game has a cheese effect. So let me just back it up a little bit. Some of the parts, let's see. Some of the power-ups will give you, or some of the things that they did for the campaign, for example. I don't think it's on here. I thought it was on here. It's been a while. But see, some of the power-ups and things like that, and the perks that you get. Yeah, the items. This is the items I wanted to bring up. Some of the items in the game will allow you to, will do certain things. And they also, when you play the campaign on New Game Plus, it was some kind of a cheese effect. So you can, a cheese bonus effect, where every time you would make contact and successfully hit or land an attack on an enemy, they would be cheesed. So I think this cheese effect in Nickelodeon All-Star 2 froze everyone in place and can instantly, once you hit them with any kind of move and things like that, even if you do like a light up, you don't even have to do like a strong attack. You can instantly knock an opponent or throw them off the stage. Once they're cheesed, they won't be able to move. So I think this sort of secret weapon with them working together and things like that could really be able to be something funny that can really be implemented as a super. So I also did it as a taunt, but it can go either way with the secret weapon. It was used to stop the squids, because it was like, oh, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna get out? How are you gonna escape? So this secret weapon came in handy, and they sprayed them and spat the cheesy dibbles on them and right in their faces. So it can cheese all the opponents on the field, and you can really just knock everyone out. Or it can have some kind of different animation. But that's something that I noticed with some of these characters in this game. They don't have manual control when you play this game. When you use their ultimates or their supers that they're called, you don't have any sort of manual control. Once you use the super, you have to land. So it has to successfully land on the opponent, and it triggers the animation. But it's just so many other different animations that they can do for this character for a super for the penguins to be able to work together. So even if it's not going to be the secret weapon that I just described using the cheesy dibbles to spray, the cheesy dibbles or the cheese puffs that they spray on the squids, they can do something different with this group of penguins working together to really just create an onslaught of offense on the target. So they can do something like that. Maybe some of you guys might have different ideas for ultimate where they can definitely work together. I don't see Skipper having a solo move and just doing some kind of special technique with a super or his ultimate. I think he's definitely going to have the group of penguins to really be able to help him out when he triggers his ultimate ability. So those are all the moves that I came up with for this request for Skipper the Penguin. I definitely have fun putting it together. It's so many possibilities. Even if he does not get into the next Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl game or the next Nickelodeon crossover, they can come out with a DreamWorks fighting game where I think he'll really definitely be able to be in the game. And I wonder how they would play this. You know, would Skipper just be the only penguin playable, or would Kowalski, Rico, and Private be separate characters? What would you guys do? Would you separate the penguins, or would you have them fight together? For me, I would have them fight together, and I would have Skipper be the leader to call the shots. And you can probably be able to switch between the penguins. Maybe some people might have a different idea, having all four of the penguins playable, just like we have two of the beavers, where you switch between them, or they all could be together. Their moves could be in sync, just like Ren and Stimpy as a duo. Their moves are in sync, and then that's the difference between Ren and Stimpy with Daggett and Norbert. Ren and Stimpy, all their moves are in sync when they work together, and then Daggett and Norbert, they summon each other, and you can swap between each beaver on the field, so they both play differently. So it's a lot of different ways that some people might be able to, just different ways you can slice it. All four penguins can be playable, but I definitely think Skipper can be the main leader to call the shots, as he's the leader of the penguin in the group himself, and you can be able to do all his different moves and things like that. It's so many different play styles, and it's not many duos, so they can probably be like a newly added, set of characters that can work together to attack enemies and things like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this request. I definitely want to do more of these throughout the year, and I plan to. So this was just the first one of the year. It's been a while. So since we're not getting any more updates, now I'm thinking about characters that can really be able to get into the next game, or maybe a DreamWorks platform fighter. I think Skipper will probably most likely have a better chance of getting into a DreamWorks platform fighter. Even though they did have a show on Nickelodeon, I don't know if that's probably going to be the case, but considering the fact that they have that DreamWorks license, it's definitely possible that they can start adding some of these DreamWorks characters into these kind of crossovers. But the big question is, what are we going to get this year? We definitely not getting All-Star Brawl 3. It's definitely going to probably just get an announcement. That's as far as we're going to get. It's not coming out this year. It's just not a realistic title that can come out right away. So they can have more time with it, and they can just have the game come out, and it could be ready, and it could be bigger and better with so much more content, consistent content, and a lot more characters that can get into the roster, and it can go on and on where they don't have to keep starting over. But I really think we might end up getting some kind of new DreamWorks game where we'll probably see Skipper playable somewhere.